Hey guys, Tim here, Big Dog Forge. Welcome back to the shop. It's good to see you again. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out the video. This time around, we're going to build a throwing axe. This will resemble a trade axe. Some folks call them a tomahawk, that kind of thing. This is a little heavier, but it's got the same shape, same type of handle. We'll be using our coal forge, our two-stage bellows, and the treadle hammer to do this build. We'll do quite a bit of work on the anvil as well. So this is a 2 1/4 inch piece of rebar scrap. I ran across some of this and picked it up and remembered that I'd seen Joey Vandersteeg's video probably 5 or 6 months ago, I guess now. And I thought this would be a great thing to do on the trip hammer. I haven't done any sizable work on it yet, and I thought this would be a great project to put it through its paces. So we squared it off, and the end started fish lipping down on itself, so we're going to utilize that area as a line to put a notch in so that we can set a higher carbon bit in for the edge of our axe. We'll be using a Nichols file, a rasp for that. It's good high carbon steel, and it should perform well as an edge for this axe. And we're using this hot cut to wedge that open further and drive it a little deeper. I don't quite have all the tooling put together for that treadle hammer that I really need, so this is going to be a great option for us here. Alright, this is our file. It's a heavy file. It's more along the lines of a rasp. And we're going to simply score it here. And we'll use the rasp as a handle. A little flux in there. Flux the high carbon steel into place. And we use that as a handle while we close the, what I suppose would best be described as a clef weld. And we'll scarf that down a little bit so that as we forge it out, it doesn't fish lip again. And we'll just break this off in the vise. Alright. So our scorer line allowed us to break that off easily in the vise. And now we'll weld this. I'm going to weld it 3 times. We have to let this rebar soak in the fire quite a bit before it gets up to temperature, and then we built our fire up pretty high to get a neutral layer in the middle so we didn't get too much oxygen to that high carbon steel. We didn't want to burn it out of the middle there. And it welded up really, really nicely. So we're burning anthracite in the coal forge. It is the fuel of choice for me at the moment. I'm in an urban setting with other folks nearby, and it burns extremely clean. It requires a lot of oxygen, but our large bellows is more than capable of providing that. So we're going to use this 1/4 inch handled punch, and we're going to drive this through where the handle is going to be before we start working on the shape of the axe. And it didn't take long. The trip hammer got our hole punched all the way through, and we're simply going to continue drifting this thing. Now this drift that I'm using is actually a axe-eye mandrel that I used to use for trade axes that were traditionally wrapped around a mandrel. But in this case, I'm using it as a drift to shape the eye for this particular axe. So the same style of handle will fit it. We use a treadle hammer to bring this down and start shaping the bit of our axe, and we'll refine that on the anvil here using a 3.5 pound Alex steel hammer. coming along quite nicely. We'll shape the body of the axe a little bit and make sure that that transition to the, I guess you could call it a beard on these axes. It's really just the shape of the axe, but it's the beard area of the axe. We'll refine the back side of the eye as it gets colder. Alright, we're going to go into the more modern shop here, and we'll take off the scale using a stone grinder. I would do this in the solid fuel smithy where the coal forge is, but I don't have a grinding stone in there. The large stone that I do have is a sharpening stone, so we'll take it back in there and sharpen it on that sharpening stone. But here we're going to take out the scale, and then we'll use the belt grinder to remove the heavy grinding marks from the stone disc. And we're going to clean up the eye so the handle fits nice, and then we'll get it heat treated. Oh, can't forget our touch mark. And this is peanut oil that I'm using here. I like it. It's cheap, it's easy, and it seems to do a pretty good job. There we go. Now typically these handles are not driven in that hard, but I like to keep them wedged into place. When you're throwing these things, they'll come loose and get more and more loose as you play with them. So I like to compress them into place. I burnt the handle for effect, and we'll give it a good sharpen on the sharpening wheel. There we go. Let's give it a try. It's balanced pretty well for what we're doing. Thanks for watching, guys. There you go.